Every car in your garage tells a story: where it's been, how it's been maintained, and what makes it truly yours. Carport gives you a simple digital garage to document, organize, and manage your vehicles all in one place. Track service history, store important records, and keep your collection dialed in with confidence. From your daily driver to your dream car, Carport keeps everything in order so you're always ready for the road. And best of all, it's free to use and is 100% private. To learn more, go to carport.app.
Every garage is a mirror of the mind that builds it. The garage becomes a quiet dialogue between who you are and what you craft. A garage is where work becomes meditation and solace, where mechanical truth becomes mental clarity. Some people go to offices, some go to mountains, others go to garages. At Metron Garage, we build for people who do all three. Give us a call to get started.
If you own a collector car, you already know it deserves more than a standard insurance policy. NCM Insurance specializes in agreed value coverage designed specifically for classic, collector, and enthusiast vehicles. From weekend drivers to serious collectors, they understand how these cars are used, stored, and protected. To learn more about protecting your collector car the right way, visit ncminsurance.com. Coverage built for the cars you care about. Imagine a journey so rare it only happened once. That's the spirit behind Once. Exclusive, one-time only adventures that will never be repeated. Our next experience, American Muscle Legends, takes you trackside with the most iconic cars in history, complemented by luxury accommodations and behind-the-scenes access you simply can't buy. Spots are limited. When it's gone, it's gone. You can learn more at discoveronce.com/muscle. All right, welcome to the Collector Car Podcast. Today I have Daniel Van Doveren on. Daniel, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Greg. How are you?
Good. I'm really excited because for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see he's got a lot of stuff behind him now that's not our normal, typical subject matter. As you know, this is called the Collector Car Podcast. But whenever I have someone talking about classic vintage trucks or sport utes, people really seem to enjoy that. So I appreciate you being on the podcast.
Appreciate you having us.
Yeah. So just for those who are not watching on video, behind you, we have a bunch of Jeeps in various, looks like stages of restoration and work done. You pretty much have a Restomod business that I absolutely love what you're doing. So if you would tell us, what is the name of your business? And then also, a little history on it.
So we started off as Jeep Heritage, right? Jeep Heritage was the nut and bolts traditional restoration company, which basically elevated the quality of classic Jeeps to the standards that you'd want to see on, any respectable classic vehicle, right? About 5 years ago, we shifted that completely into our second brand called Vigilante, and which is 100% Restomod, fully re-engineering of the same vehicles, but with a more modern approach. We stay true to the original vibe of the vehicle, but it's really, really critical that, it drives like a modern car, it feels like a modern car, and that it's reliable. People love these old Wagoneers, people love these old classic Jeeps, but they don't want to tinker on them every weekend, and they also don't want to, they want to be able to take them from coast to coast. So that's where we stepped in.
Yeah, so your rest of my business is called Vigilante 4x4, right?
It's Vigilante. The website is vigilante4x4.com. All the handles, the Instagram and so on, it's all Vigilante 4x4. But the proper name is Vigilante.
And you're based where?
We are right outside of Austin in Texas, at the start of the hill country.
Yeah, I noticed behind you have a nice big warehouse with some big ass fans going around there. So how's the temperature down there right now?
So right now we're in the low 80s. Not too bad for this time of year. But we do get these cold fronts where you got to put on a sweater and for a couple of days, and then you can get back to shorts and t-shirts.
Well, I love your business for a couple reasons. First off, I totally agree with you. I mean, first you've got Jeeps, CJ5, 7s, Wagoneer, all those wonderful cars, Jeepsters, everything. And
you're keeping them relevant, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, they're such classic, iconic styling. You're making them to where people can enjoy them and drive them today. And obviously, we've seen this trend with Singer doing it to Porsche 964s. We've seen it with Revology, with Mustangs and Shelbys. We've seen it with Icon, with the Toyota FJ. So I think this is really a great space you're in. And also, what I love about, I was looking on your website, what I love about your business model is you have different tiers. So if you say, hey, I want a quote unquote entry level, you've got like your entry level price point, but then you can also upgrade it until you've got like a, 707 horsepower Hellcat engine, right?
That's right. Yeah. So since we came from the stock restoration business, yeah, we kind of let that evolve through time. We now see that 99% of what we do is full Restomod. We actually stopped completely. The website does need to get a little update. The full stock restorations last year, at the end of last year, just because demand has shifted completely. And but yeah, we do offer the traditional Mopar Hemi crate engines under the hood. So it's going to be your 5.7, your SRT8 392, 6.4 liter, or the 6.2 Hellcat or Hellcat Red Eye, which produce up to 810 horsepower. So yeah,
Wow.
it's going from something that just needs to be reliable to something that is pretty wild to drive and fun and exciting to drive.
Well, that's interesting that you had to transition your business model because I know here in Cincinnati, there's a guy that he basically takes 63 Corvette split windows and he'll make them into Pro Street or Restomods, and he'll just sell them at Bear Jackson every year. And an absolute Concours NCRS 63 split window Fuel is 300 grand on the high side,
Mm.
and he's selling these Restomos for 400 and $450,000.
That's it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, how far can you take it? That's also the question. The thing, right? There's a definite evolution in the market since we've started this. You were mentioning Revology, you were mentioning Icon, the Singer. These guys were the core essence of what founded this movement, right? Super respectable, hat off, and amazing. Great source of inspiration for us. We've kind of continued in that sense, and also the fact that we stay true to the Jeep brand and no other vehicles. That's really critical to us, is to stick within your rails and not do a Bronco one day and then a Scout another day. No, stay true to what you're good at
yeah.
and specialize in that. There has been a real market shift because people saw the interest in in the way that we did this, and there's also, I hate to say it, but there's been a transition, and I think there's also a shakeout coming now between the companies that do put out respectful products, just like Revology, like ourselves, and so on and so on, and then other brands that see the market opportunity and just try to crunch numbers and build something that looks similar to what those guys build, but it's not half as good. And unfortunately, it's unfortunate, but that's just the market, right? But yeah, we take great pride in doing what we do, and people that understand and that have followed the brand since the beginning. I mean, we're very lucky to have those clients. I mean, we've got several clients that we've built 3 or 4 cars for already, repeat customers, which is great, that have just followed us through time.
I think that's a key point. You really have to get your name out there as the quality provider and restorer,
Mm.
and so that when people see one, they know, oh, you know what, this is a Vigilante. This isn't Joe Schmo in his garage putting this thing together.
Right.
Like you really need to get your name out there as you are, and that also comes down to resale value as well. You want to buy a
Yeah,
known brand that has been sorted. It's done well. It's done with the right craftsman, with the right equipment. Everything syncs together correctly. So that obviously I can see how important that is. That's why Singer prices have really gone through the roof because they have
absolutely.
built that brand. And same with Icon,
Yeah.
for reliability and quality. Now I have to ask, so a lot of these cars, SUVs you're dealing with, they're not worth a ton of money. I mean, yes, the Wagoneer has gone up quite a bit recently, But do you have to do any major modifications like the shock tower mounts, that kind of stuff to fit in the Hemi? I would assume you would have to.
So, so it's very simple, right? We did it with a full deep dive, full technical deep dive, and this was only possible, since it has only been possible since a couple of years, right?
Right.
Because reverse engineering and 3D scanning and all of those techniques were available before that, but it was just not accessible to companies like us. So we started off by basically 3D scanning the bodies of three vehicles that had a special place in our heart: the Wagoneer or the Grand Wagoneer, same body, the Cherokee Chief, and the J Truck. Since 2026, we now have also, you can see here in the back, there's a Scrambler. We have the same platform designed for the Scrambler, and the Jeepster Commando is coming next. So still true to the Jeep lineage, but 3D scan of the body that allows us to put the data in CAD, to design a chassis, brand new chassis. We're not using the stock chassis. Modern suspension, 4-link suspension, front and back. Brand new axles, front and back, that can hold that power and that won't leak over time, and so on and so on. Big 6-piston brakes at each wheel. And obviously a selection of any of those Hemis that we mentioned earlier. Mainly the 392s and the Hellcats are what we build. Now and then we'll do a 5.7, and now and then one with a Viper V10 a couple of years ago as well. Very fun to drive. However, the Hellcat and Hellcat Red Eye are just the way to go if you want to have, the big power.
Yeah, and what else I really love about what you're doing is you're keeping it as stock looking as possible. I saw in your, like your three different levels. I think the first one, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know, the base was like 175 and it went up to like 325 depending on level of powertrain. But each one said basically keep the stock appearance as much as possible, right?
That's right. So we basically, the vehicle itself from the start was not a very good vehicle, right? Back in the 80s, those Wagoneers
No,
weren't
not good at
built
all.
very well. They were iconic. They were beautiful. They were amazing. The aesthetic, everybody would recognize them everywhere. But functionally, they just, I'm sorry to say, they weren't very well built. So that left a lot of room for improvement for us. So we've basically not only re-engineered a chassis and basically re-engineered wheels that would fit the big 6-piston brakes, but that are a size bigger, but that look stock, right? But we've kept all the lines and the aesthetic on the dash, the gauges, the climate control, etc. That all looks stock. The radio, it's an original radio, but everything's gutted out and basically interfaces modernly with modern climate control, with reading the data from the Hemi, enabling Bluetooth over your stock looking radio, and that you can change the songs still in a very analog way, that you very tactile way. You can it's for me it's really critical, the effort that you put into not only the drivetrain but also maintaining the original soul, the original the soul of the vehicle, and that when you step in, sure, it's going to be reliable, it's going to drive great, but you want to have those push on buttons for the climate control. You don't want to have little modern dials or LED flashing lights go on your radio. You got to step in, and we literally have re-engineered everything from basically functionality like I explained about the audio, the gauges, the climate control, but also every single door panel is not made out of cardboard like it used to be back in the days. No, it's all ABS paneling that is refitted to meet better, tighter fitments and standards. The doors shut better than they ever did. They sound better whenever you shut them. So it's, I've never owned anything else than these vehicles. And that just gave me the opportunity to really dive into the what was good and what was bad about it, and to study what was bad and just take the time to make it evolve and to improve it. And that's really where we stand right now with those 4 models. We'd like to add a few more, the Scrambler is the big one for this year. So yeah, we'll see where we go with that. The Scrambler for us is going to be a, you see so many Broncos, you see so many Scouts out there. Jeep doesn't really have its smaller vehicle, fun beach cruiser. So the Scrambler is really going to fit in right there. And then the Wagoneers and the Cherokees, basically, we pushed that a step higher, along with the K5s and the bigger, the Travelers and so on and so on.
Well, it's interesting. I had Dave Kinney, he does the Haggerty Valuation Guide, on a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about the Grand Wagoneer because I think it was part of their bull market list for 2026. And he said, I had one of those when they were new, and the engine blew up at 4,000 miles. That's how bad of a car it was. And that's just amazing. And I love looking online. I love looking at the interior work that you do. Just absolutely stunning, incredible work. Now, what's the best way for our folks to learn more? Go to vigilante4x4.com?
Yeah, that's probably the best way. Vigilante4x4.com. We've obviously the regular social media platforms where we have a little bit more of live features, and then my wife and I do. Each vehicle that rolls out of here, in short, we've tried to basically, she does the driving experience of that vehicle. So from a female perspective, it's also nice that to get her impression behind the wheels. She's kind of our quality control lady here in the shop. And I'll do a deep dive, just geeking out on, the functionality and going into the technicality of each build. And that is all hosted on YouTube.
Yeah, I was watching one of her drives earlier. Really enjoying that. Now, what's the build time? I know you have a couple that are available now, but what's the build time if you wanted to custom spec one of your own Jeeps?
We are just over 2 years, which is great. It's a good moment on the big guys, right? The Wagoneers, the Cherokees, and the J trucks. The Scramblers, we are offering with an option. We're right now 12 months. We're going to try to be closer to 9 months on those. They're less complicated to build, and we can there's no electric doors on there, electric windows, electric seats, electric mirrors, and so on and so on. They're way more, they're back to the basics, right? But
Right. Okay. Well, I do want to ask you a couple questions here in a minute. I gave you a little heads up. It's the thing I like to do called Keep Cash and Crush. But before I do that, what's in your garage? Do you have anything cool in your garage from a classic or collector car sport ute perspective?
And that's a tricky one because I used to own probably 40 Jeeps as a collector, right? I've had every single low mileage vehicle. I had a CJ that had 2,000 miles on it from '86. I had a Wagoneer that belonged to the King of Belgium that had less than 10,000 miles on it.
Oh,
Just super low mileage stuff from back in the days. I honestly, what I enjoy doing is being surrounded with a team and build them. There's always one that needs to be tested. Each and every one of these vehicles, we put about 1,000 miles on them just to retorque them and just make sure everything is right, because whoever delivers a car with 0 miles on it is just crazy. So I'm always driving something else, to be honest with you. And so I don't really have a need for a car. Yeah, of course we have the family vehicles, but my heart is poured into the guys that you see here in the back, and that's what I enjoy.
That's a great answer. I love that because as I have found, most of the folks that are living and breathing the car world or SUV world don't have one because they get it through their day job, which is like the best of both worlds,
Yeah,
right?
that's it. But it's also important that you stay in touch with kind of with the market, and so now and then we'll rent something cool out there, and just for a weekend or on a trip somewhere, something modern to stay in touch with with what's going on in the car world, right? And
Yeah.
then of course, if there is room for inspiration to reapply that in what we do every day, we'll do that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't get a bigger kick than driving these vehicles. That's my love and passion.
That's awesome. Well, as we close here, I do want to play my little game with you. It's called Keep, Cash, and Crush. So it's meant to be painful. I'll give you 3 sport utes or pickup trucks, and you have to tell me which one you want to keep forever, which one you want to cash in, and which one you unfortunately need to crush. All right, so
Go
here
for
are
it.
the 3. The first is a 1972 Bronco, Ford Bronco.
Mhm.
Let's call it in really nice condition, but this is the I don't know if it's Stroop or Strope. It's the Strope
Yeah.
edition, the
Okay.
Baja Rally edition. The next one's a 92 Mint GMC Typhoon. So
Oh,
very early, hot, performance sport ute. And then the third one is a newer one, a 2024 Dodge Durango, but it's the SRT Hellcat Silver Bullet with 20,000 miles. So that's the 20th, I think it's the 20th anniversary one of the SRT engine. So
yeah.
72 Bronco Strope, 92 GMC Typhoon, 24 Dodge Durango, SRT Hellcat Silver Bullet. Which one would you keep forever? Which one would you cash in? And which one would you crush?
I would cash in the Bronco. I would. And there it becomes difficult because my wife has daily drives that Durango, so I'm gonna get in trouble if I say I'm gonna crush. But no, the Typhoon is great. I have driven that back in the days. It was great little. I mean, it was fast, right? Yeah. So in between those two, I think, yeah, I can't decide. The Durango probably is a keeper just to stay in good.
Okay, well that's fair.
Marital,
You want to keep your marriage happy, so we're going to crush the Typhoon, which I'll crush it for you since you're having trouble doing it. So
sounds good. But
yeah,
yeah, it's no, that's actually a great modern car. It's got incredible towing capabilities. We tow these guys here in the back, uh, 5,600 pounds. It can go up to, I think, 9,500 pounds or something like that, the Durango, and
oh
still
yeah,
be like so fast. It's amazing. I love it.
yeah. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, you firsthand experience, so that's good. Well, thank you so much for being on the Collector Car Podcast. I really appreciate you joining us.
Very good speaking with you, and please, yeah, let's come visit us in here in Austin, Texas.